I'm here with Bobby. We're talking about Cooper Flagg on today's Locked On Mavs.
This is Cooper Flagg, and you're listening to Locked On Mavs.
I think that's a good question.
Good morning, Isaac. All these changes, I still got my dog, Dwight Powell.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still killing it.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
You are locked on the Dallas Mavericks. This is one of your hosts, Isaac Harris, covering the Mavs for the last 10 years, alongside my good friend Nick Angstead, and covered the Mavs for many years alongside my good friend Bobby Karalla. Hi, Bobby.
Okay, did you do that on accident or did you do that on purpose?
I did it on purpose.
Okay, all right. Whew.
Why?
It's like Nick is much more handsome than me.
I will say, Nick had the ultimate flex on me today. He FaceTimed me from the pool in Cancun.
Whoa.
And I was like, shirt off, sunglasses, everything. And I was like, all right, I'm driving home from work. And he's just like in the pool in Cancun. And
Wow. But too lazy to record, huh? Have y'all ever done an international pod?
No. Probably not worth it, but was thinking about going to Slovenia, but I guess we still could.
The tickets are probably cheaper.
Yeah. Today I'm joined by the one and only Bobby Karalla from DLLS. I left it off an L in there. I guess the Mavericks stole it because they need all the L's right now. But gosh, you're talking about the Mavs every day over with Ron and Kevin, and well, now Tim's gone. So, I guess he's national Tim now. So he's too cool. And Tanner, no one ever gets to see Tanner's face. But shout out to Tanner. Love Tanner.
He is there.
He is there. We're going to talk about Cooper Flagg, and I got a bunch of different questions and stuff for Bobby, but let's just start here with Cooper. We've gotten to see over half a season from Cooper, 3/4 of the way, somewhere through there, of Cooper Flagg. And the whole experience watching Cooper is just so much fun. We love to do comps. We love to do player comps. Listeners, Mavs fans just eat it up at times. It's like, all right, who's he remind us of? If we had to single it down, like, hey, who is a player that Cooper has reminded you the most of this year?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go back in time about 10 years ago.
And tell me if it's changed too, because I think some people had their comps at the beginning before that we've seen him play, and tell me if it's changed. It could be the same. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I think I don't know if it's changed because I think I always thought that he was going to get better, but he's just like advancing like by years in months, So like maybe by the time he's 22, he's already going to be in the Hall of Fame. Like I have no idea, but I'm going to go back 10 years ago to a team that Jason Kidd coached. I'm going to year 3 Giannis. That's who Cooper reminds me of. That year, Giannis averaged about 17 points, about 7 boards. He averaged a little over a steal. He averaged a block and a half per game. He was not shooting threes. He was shooting in the 30s on mid-range jumpers, was getting to the line a decent amount, was experimenting with handling the ball, looked a little clumsy at times, looked like an absolute Chad at other times. And, that year for him was kind of like, for Giannis, that year for him was kind of like if you're recording a podcast and you don't have a good webcam or a microphone, but got some good takes. And then you finally get some better equipment and boom, you're off to the races. The following season, Giannis won Most Improved. The year after that, he was top 10 in MVP. The year after that, he was the MVP. So that 15-16 season was really the springboard, and then it was just, first team All-NBA for the rest of his career. Coop, at the beginning of the year, he was averaging 13 or 14, and then for a little while, he was averaging like 17, 18, and now for a while, he's been averaging 25, which is what Giannis was averaging like in his 5th or 6th year in the league. So Coop is probably already past year 3 Giannis, but it feels like he is also – like 21-year-old Giannis on the precipice of a long run of potential all-defense teams just because of his number of blocks and steals, and then also all-star and maybe even one-day MVP considerations. His numbers are unbelievable, and if the team is ever good, he will absolutely be in that discussion.
when the team is good, not if the team is ever good. It's crazy because I think about those like younger Giannis days, and when you see the clips of them, that was pre Kalshi, that you see Giannis when he's like super, super young and he's like super, super skinny. And I'm like, how much different is Cooper going to look in, 10 or 15 years?
I mean, do you think that, because I'm trying to think, I mean, Giannis was a rail, but he also wasn't done growing.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cooper's going to get any taller, but I don't know. I guess he could always kind of chisel his frame a little bit more, but he doesn't really need to add much weight. Giannis needed to add weight and muscle. Coop just needs to refine it a little bit. Like, I feel like he's so much further along than Giannis was. That's my
thing with it. And I struggle with this, originally when he was coming out of Duke, I didn't know I think the thing that has impressed me a lot with Cooper this year has been just some of this work on the perimeter. Like they did, some pick and roll stuff in college with him and Malawach and stuff at times. But just they had better, they had more guard play and stuff then. So they were playing him at the 4 at times, sometimes at the 3, but a lot of times at the 4. So I was thinking like, who are some like younger, like 4 types of players, like, oh, okay, he's not going to like handle the ball type of like a ton right off the bat. All right, Jason Kidd, debunk that really fast. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's kind of like shifted to like a younger Kawhi in a way of just like not as polished. Like once Kawhi like hit like peak Kawhi, like he had his like little tight dribble handle moves to get to his spots that he wants to get all the time. For Cooper, like there's just some of that. I mean, there are times I'm like, man, I feel like you can get to whatever spot you want to get to. And he's already got some of that mid-range stuff and some of the, fadeaway stuff. It feels like those mid-range things, like the go-to stuff at the, elbow or something like that. Like that's the thing of like, all right, that's what a vet in like year 4 is supposed to be like developing and like honing in on. And he's just so far advanced. I do like the young Giannis stuff. There are a lot of like Giannis stuff, especially driving to the rim at times. I'm like, all right. Like
he just creates so much momentum and so much terror, as he goes to the rim, because you just know you can't stop him. And I think he's gonna probably average like 8 or 10 free throws a game throughout his career, maybe even more. I guess it depends on how they officiate him, but. One thing he has over Giannis is this year he's like 46% on shots from between 10 to 16 feet. So it's like in between, not a mid-range, some floaters, some shorter turnarounds. Giannis has never shot that well in his career on that shot. But Coop is around 35% on between 16 out to the three-point line. Kawhi is just automatic from there. I mean, always high 40s, even into the 50s sometimes. Yeah. And so I think – if Coop can shore up that jumper, which I think he will, honestly, like I bet his numbers are already better, the last 2 months as opposed to the first 2, then yeah, I think he'll have something in his bag that Giannis never did. And I think he'll also have a club in his bag that Kawhi never did, which is the ability to get to the rim and finish over everybody. Like, if he just takes elements of both of their games, then, I mean, dude, he's like, that's 2 of the best players of the last 15 years, So
what you're saying is, Bobby's saying that Cooper will be a combination of Kawhi and Giannis.
Yes, I think he already is. And I mean,
go. This podcast is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Guys, ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on the NBA future and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip or 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock in. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on the NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. This podcast is also brought to you by our friends over at Quo. The new year, it's new systems. This is a time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically logs calls, summarizes conversations and highlights next steps, so details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise Quo is the number one rated business phone system on G2, trusted more than the 90,000 businesses. Make this year where no opportunity, no customer slips away. Track Quo for free, plus 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That's QUO.com/lockedonnba. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Is it? I'm Mavs pilled. All right, I'm back on the train after everything that's happened the last couple months. Is Coop already like one of the? I'm not a player ranker, you know this, but is he already one of the 20 best players in the league?
Okay, I'm glad you said that because so we did this, Locked On Top 100 thing and got just flamed by people because in Locked On, because I had him before the season started, I had him at like 46, 48.
Dude,
and
ambitious. Yeah,
I know. And got flamed on there because they're like, he's a rookie. Rookies are never that good. He's never played in the league before. I'm like, dude, I think he's that good. So somebody went back and asked me this past week in a Q&A thing. They're like, hey, where would you have him now? And I'm like, just off the top of my head, I was like, I feel like top 35, probably top 30. but then I'm like, am I being too biased on that? It was just because I'm watching him every game and I'm like, I'm watching the impact, not just with some of the counting stats, but like what he does defensively too and how he impacts the game all over the floor. I'm like, how many players are for sure that much better than him right now?
I don't know, man. I mean, and there's so much noise. Like there were, whether you're a spreadsheet guy or a that boy nice watcher, there's plenty of reasons to like Coop, but there's also plenty of reasons not to. But at least from the math POV, there's so much noise in his stats because the first half of the season was a complete and utter like horror show. You just can't judge him for that. He's playing out of position on a team with no shooting. And now he's still defending on a team with no point of attack defense. Like the Mavs are going to probably finish below league average in defensive rating this year, despite being top 5 for a lot of the first part of the season. Because they
defense
just have
wins championships.
Yeah, well, it does. And that's why they won't win, because they got worse at defense. Yep. But they have no point of attack defenders, very little in the way of rim protection. And so, everything is going to be weird. Everything is going to be noisy. And then from a film standpoint, sometimes he's a little clumsy. Sometimes he's tired. Sometimes he's still grabbing his shoulder because I don't think his shoulder's been healthy all season. So I'm not going to grade him too harshly for any of the shortcomings, just like I'm not going to get too high about any of the positives. But, dude, based on what I've already seen, all right, scoring, shot creation, fearlessness, rebounding, vision, passing, awareness, intelligence, adaptability, rim protection, athleticism, willingness to get up and down at both ends of the floor. Like, there's only 10 or 15 other guys that do all of those things, and he's already better than some of them. Like, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. All right, let's do some roster building stuff around Cooper. What's the next thing then they need to add moving forward? You can do like a broad thing, or you can do like, a specific type of player.
I think the thing they need to add next to Coop is Kyrie Irving. Like, just genuinely, I think a guard that is great on the ball and great off the ball, a guard that can shoot, a guard that is very quick and can eat up space. Like, think about how good Brandon Williams looks sometimes against defenses that are scrambling. The Mavs just they have so many battering rams on offense that just will bludgeon their way into the lane. Coop, Naji, PJ, if they don't turn it over, usually the defense is reacting, And so Brandon Williams is able to kind of just blow by guys that are out of position. Kyrie can do that, but he can also shoot 45% on catch and shoot threes. He can also pass. He can also command attention, whether he has the ball or not. And he's seasoned. He's got some experience. He knows when to take over the game. So I think Kyrie will help a lot. Players of that archetype, like I think Naji plays way better with Coop than he did with Luka, whereas I think PJ played way better with Luka than he has so far with Coop. So I think guys that are willing to look for their own shot, guys that are hungry to shoot, that want the ball, that want to shoot threes, and that will provide spacing for him. I think it's a slightly different kind of archetype than what fits with Luka. But I think mentality-wise, the kinds of guys that I want to play with Coop are psychotic maniac freaks. I'm talking guys that are going to get in people's faces, that want to run the floor, that want to dunk it, that are going to roar after Coop does something cool or after they do something cool. Like, you can tell that Coop has the fire in him. So I want guys that are going to complement that and that have it themselves. I want the Mavs to get after it every single possession. And if you don't want to fit in with that on both ends of the floor, then fit out.
Fit in or fit out. I want shooting. Like, can we just get consistent shooting around Cooper Flagg? And that's it can't just be Max Christie. And, they just have to have more shooting on the floor. And yeah, if I could be picky about it, I want, 3-and-D type of guys. And I just surround this guy with shooting, give him some space, and it could be pretty scary. And I'll lump in the next question too about like the big man spot. I did a show the other day on, hey, who's the next like big man for Dallas moving forward? Is it, if it's not Lively, do they go, the free agent class is kind of tough. We don't know their exact money situation. Do they go the trade route? What's the like type of center that if they went to Bobby and they're like, Bobby, what type of center do you want around Cooper? Or does it matter?
The thought of, if it's not Lively, like, please don't ever say that again. Please don't put that into the universe, man.
We have to realistically talk about it though, right?
Like, I know it sucks.
I hate it, but
because I think he has a lot of the traits that I would want: defensive versatility, a little bit of ball instincts on the short rolls. Lively is also really good at staying out of the way. Like, he's really good at hanging out in the dunker spot and backing up if he needs to, or doing a little extra screen, little Gortat action if he needs to. He can run the floor. I think that he's got all the traits. I don't know how many bigs are like that. Can I list the names that you sent me beforehand, or were you gonna spring them on me?
No. I mean, I'll because I threw out, like, I tried to find some like centers around the league that I could see getting like shopped this offseason, and not having any of like the big like salary guys like Towns or Sabonis or I didn't want any of those type of guys.
Sabonis would not be my answer regardless. So we're good there.
Well, I knew how much you would like that fit in Dallas, so I didn't want to throw that in there. So I threw out there Jared Allen, Miles Turner, Nick Claxton. Would you be interested in any of those three? And if so, which one of those three do you think fits next to Cooper the best?
I think, defensively, I like Claxton the most.
You've always loved Claxton.
I've always loved him, but I feel like I'm starting to cool on him, and maybe that's just
what,
like net-itis. Just like maybe you spend too much time there, and I just kind of like start hating you for some reason. I would
hate
love
Michael
to see
Porter
him
Jr. Before Brooklyn, or
you what?
Did you hate MPJ before Brooklyn, or?
He's been on my list for a while. When was his first podcast? All right, you take care of the basketball. Leave the pods to us. All right, but I think shooting is good, and so despite me also kind of cooling considerably on Miles, I think I would rather have Miles than Jared Allen. Allen, granted, Donovan seems to get to the rim whenever he wants, and Harden and Mobley and all that stuff. So like, Jared Allen knows kind of what he's doing out there, obviously, and he's a good defender as well. But I think I would prioritize a big that could shoot it a little bit. But I don't know, man. You tell me. Maybe not even a specific kind of player, but like, I genuinely don't know.
I know, because I naturally go back to when they were building around Luka, and it's like it felt like they wanted a very specific type of 5-man next to Luka, as that like rim roller, lob threats, the Lively's, the Gaffords of the world, Dwight Powell. And for Cooper, I'm like, does that change? Do you still want the same type of center? Does Cooper make a stretch 5, like a pick and pop guy, a little bit more? I know Miles Turner is like a rim protector, but also a stretch 5 too. But that's what, I've been curious. I even went back and looked at some like Jason Tatum teams, Kawhi teams. You think about that Kawhi team that won in Toronto. They had Marc Gasol and Ibaka. I don't know how I don't know.
Spacers,
Yeah. But then I think Marc Gasol is like, he might have won Defensive Player of the Year, whether it's there or Memphis.
Yeah, he would eat up space. And I think that if you can be a kind of a beefy rim protector, but also a shooter, like Brook Lopez. I mean, if Coop is Giannis, then give me Brook Lopez, but Brook is 38 or whatever now.
Yeah.
And who is the next Brook Lopez. Is that guy around? Like Miles probably is not. I mean, he's playing with Giannis now, but I don't think he's as effective, obviously, as Brook once was. It's tough, man. And I mean, the Celtics, they won the title with KP. And KP can do some of those things. He can obviously shoot it. Al Horford, same thing. He can shoot it and was really good defensively, even though he's kind of on the back nine, even whenever the Celtics won. But
so you want Towns?
Give me Towns. I don't think they need a screen and roll big. If they want a guy that can be a little bit of a hub and make decisions with handoffs, that's great. But I don't think you need to set screens and spread the floor and do all that stuff. I really don't. I think Coop can break guys down. The Mavs can get in the open floor. I think they're good there. Plus, I'm kind of tired of watching pick and roll. I like that the Mavs have done something a little different this year. It's just something new. I think it's cool, even though it doesn't work as well.
You're a big Michigan guy. I like Morez Johnson Jr. a lot at Michigan.
Okay.
That Michigan team is a lot of fun to watch, by the way.
You're going to trust starting center job to a rookie?
Oh, no. I mean, like, hey, let's bring him to the bench and have fun working your way up type of thing. But
I also like, I think maybe only as a backup, but I really like some of the traits that Moussa Cisse has, just energy, chaos, like physicality. Like, I think I want that to be the Mavs' identity. Just, you have no idea what anyone's going to do,
Do we both agree that the betting favorite would be Dereck Lively as a starting big man for training camp?
I hope so.
I feel like it's going to be like in pencil. It's not in pen or permanent marker, but like, hey, we're starting next year with Lively there. But
what do you think is more likely, that Gafford is the starting five or that Gafford is not on the team?
Not on the team.
Okay. I agree with you there.
They shopped him so hard. It feels like they've kind of like collectively. Now, granted, the next GM, whoever that is, if it's not in-house, they could decide differently, but feels like you're kind of already heading down that path and you might make that, decision. Yeah. Whether it's draft night, first or free agency, somewhere through there. But
yeah, I think, Gaff just defensively a little not flexible enough. And offensively, I don't think he can move enough. I think they need a little more. I want a little more dynamic something from the five spot, whether it's speed or shooting or whatever.
Yeah, like, she's playing really well for Charlotte right now, but like Diabate is like kind of chaotic, athletic, but playing really well. Like, they're not going to get rid of him, but yeah, there's a little bit of that in Nick Claxton. And last, this podcast is brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. Guys, Indeed, I've hired off Indeed, and it worked out great for me. I still get to work with the guy I hired off Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing. The one position you have to fill out sitting open. When the pressure's on, you need the right hire. This is Job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, and location. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching, more interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing. And listeners to the show get $75 sponsored job credit to help your job in the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support your show by saying, heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
But yeah. Speaking of the draft, do you have any big draft takes? Nothing specific, but like anything that's like brewing with the draft of, man, this guy pops out to me for Dallas, or what you think?
Nothing about players, but I think I've been kind of workshopping this take on the show, and Kevin just hates me for saying it out loud. I think that if the Mavs get the number one pick, I think that they should trade down. Is that a bad take?
I don't think it's bad. I just think it's so hard to do. I think it's one of those things, in theory, yes, that would be awesome. I just don't think you see the Fultz Tatum thing happen that often. And
I think in this one, it's possible if Peterson is for sure the number one pick, right? Everything could change.
yeah,
Because he is a guard and the other two dudes are forwards. And so if a team is sitting there at number 3 and really needs – now this is all dependent on everything,
yeah.
But if the team is at number 3 and really likes Peterson and really needs and wants a guard,
I was going to say the stars have to align for it to happen. Because I personally have DeBonta at 1. I still like him the best out of those 3 guys. So if it's like – in that scenario, if there is a team at 3 that is obsessed with Peterson and but then if like you miss on DeBonta and then which Boozer's good too.
Be a whiff, but that's where, you have to play it really, really cleverly. Now I'm giving the game away, but like, let's say it's Memphis number 3 and the Mavs are number 1. The Grizzlies are going to trade Ja. Everyone knows it. They could really use a new guard, really use, Darren Peterson. Whoa, how cool would that be? I don't think Kansas is close to Memphis, but like it's close enough. He could be the face of the future. Memphis has 10,000 first-round draft picks. Would they offer number 3 and a couple of those? And then the Mavs could trade down and get either DeBonta or Boozer, depending on
Yeah.
I think that there's something there. There is something there, but if you are just all aboard the Darren Peterson train, I totally get it. I think he's very talented. I would even consider trading down with teams at 4 or 5 and just say, give us a lot of stuff and come get this dude. But
I guess it depends on what the stuff is. It's if Peterson was playing all the time and there's no questions, I think I would just stay there and take Peterson because he is one of the most like special talents. Just pure talent that I've seen.
Can you imagine him, Kyrie, Coop? That is a Hooper's dream team.
Yes. I need to know more. I'll admit, I just don't know enough about the off the court stuff to have a firm like, hey, I would trade out of that but I still like DeBonta a little bit more. Do you have any take on like those other guards yet?
Not yet.
All right.
During the season, I don't spend too much time. I see.
Bobby, that's not how this works. If you're a Mavs fan, you have to be planning a flag right now on one of those guards.
Okay. Keaton Wagler.
Well, it's Wagler.
Well, all right, there you go. That's how much I know about him. No, I see a gazillion highlights. I follow people that are very, nerdy and spend a lot of time looking at this stuff. I feel like I've read a lot of, consumed a lot of synthesized information. I've not spent the time doing it myself yet, and therefore I do not feel comfortable talking about it. But AJ DeBonta is the pick at number 1. I'm totally with you there. I am confident enough to say that out loud.
Huh, we think the same with that. Yes. Any GM thoughts that's developed over the past few months?
I feel like I've just wanted Masai Ujiri to be the GM of the Mavs for so long that now it's like, just go.
Wow.
Just go get Masai.
We haven't talked about this. Really?
Oh, dude. This goes back. All right. This goes back to a long time ago.
You looking at his like really successful track record in Toronto?
Well, Isaac, he won a title, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he did.
But this goes back to not long after they won the title. This goes back to 2021, whenever the Mavs made the move to get Donnie out of here. I like, Toronto's teams always struggled to shoot once Kawhi left, and so I don't know if that's just because Masai doesn't value shooting. I do, so I would have a problem with that. But I liked that whole kind of ethos, and I also think Masai knows how to make a deal, whether it's good or bad. He always gets a lot of stuff, he just always does, and he's experienced. But I think all of those things, there are other candidates that have all of those things. But I want, most importantly, I want a GM that is going to command the room.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to Matt Riccardi and Michael Finley, and everyone else in the Mavs front office for getting the AD deal done. I think it was a pretty good trade for the Mavs, all things considered. I think that there's reason to believe a collaborative approach could work, between all the stakeholders. But I have dreamed forever, and I know that every Mavs fan and every Dallas Cowboys fan has felt the same exact way. I have dreamed forever about what it would be like to have an owner who just wrote checks and a very strong-minded and strong-willed and intelligent and successful general manager ran the show. I think it would be incredible.
That's what Dumont tried to do with Nico.
Yeah, that is, well, all right, never mind.
There just wasn't a track record there before, so
yeah, that's true. Okay, that's true.
So
I want
he
that
sold
person to be like Nico,
selling Pegasus, running shoes was like the track record.
I need Nico, but who has all of my beliefs about basketball.
There you go.
So
should just be you.
No, I think the Mavs actually should not have a general manager. They should just be GM-less.
I think Masai would be a great hire. I was kidding, I was joking earlier, but yes, I want somebody who has been there and done it. Like I've admitted, like, hey, I might be like burnt from the like Nico experience, and like I just don't want to do like a newbie to it. At this point, right now, I just want somebody who's been there and done that. I would be open to David Griffin if David Griffin would be down for it. Masai, that'd be great. It feels like there's a lot of ties to Lindsay out there. I know, what Cuban's been pretty vocal about that. If Cuban, you personally would want Jason Kidd in that role or no?
I think for the sake of my standing on the show, I'd have to say I have not considered that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. If you would consider that or not.
Have you?
What?
Have you? I saw the McMahon quote.
Yeah, that was fun asking McMahon that. Have I considered it? Yes. Am I like planting the flag of like, yes, this should happen? No, I'm not. Because it just goes back to like, he might be a good GM someday. I just want somebody who's just done it that can step in and say like, hey, this is how we do things. This is how I've done it in the past too. This is what I've learned, but I want to help, do this thing now. And
I think, I don't even want to give oxygen to it, but the one advantage that Kidd would have, because I want the GM to GM and I want the coach to coach. I don't want anyone to do both. All right.
Yeah.
But if, let's say, you wave your magic wand and J Kidd gets promoted or whatever, there's still a lot of players in the NBA that really respect that guy. And
that's true.
It was kind of cool that Nico was very connected and very admired. That was pretty cool.
That was the calling
card. That was
a
nice change of pace from Mavs, eras in the past. And or the recent past, at least. I think the Mavs were cool, before as well, but 25 years ago. It would be nice to have a GM that had some aura, Yeah. And I think J Kidd does a little bit.
Yeah. Then you have to get a new head coach.
Well, that would be you, Isaac.
John Shire from Duke. Last thing I'm gonna throw at you. What are you spending the most time thinking about right now as a Mavs fan? Or just the Mavs in general? Right
now, I think I think the story of this season is just that the fans are awesome. Like the fans have power. Everything that's happened over the last year has just been, a whole bunch of baloney. And ultimately, the Mavs had to take some L's, but Mavs fans got a lot of W's to show for it. Using your voice works, and coming together works. I also think, the fan recognition. There was a lot of hope over the summer that the Mavs would be really good, and I got a lot of heat for saying that they wouldn't. And I'm not here to scoreboard anybody.
You were one of the only voices saying that, though.
I went out. I stepped out on a ledge there. I bet $100 that they'd win fewer than 40 games, and I'm going to win that. I'm going to win $100. So I'll buy you dinner if you meet me in Vegas. But when I collect, I think fans also recognized really early on that it wasn't working, and they recognized the problems. And I'm very impressed and proud of Mavs fans' ball knowledge, dude. Like it just.
Ball knowers.
And for their demands to be listened to. Like, I think it's just incredible. There's never been anything like this in sports, and it absolutely sucks that it happened, and it sucks even worse that it happened to us. But I'm very proud and very happy to see so many people recognize the problems, demand the solutions, and then also recognize that, hey, maybe punting on the season is good. There hasn't been hardly any infighting about that over the last few weeks. It feels like everyone is together. And it's fun, man. I'm glad that the hope is back. In a year or two, expectations will re-enter the conversation, and that's going to be really tough because expectations usually precede getting let down most of the time. But right now, it's hope, it's fun, it's refreshing, it's new, and I think that's really fun. So I'm very happy with the state of Mavs everything right now.
Yeah, I think that's the word, hope. It just feels like hope is back, and I mean, obviously Cooper has a lot to do with that. That Cooper's here, but just Cooper, this upcoming draft pick, I think this draft has dominated a lot of my mind too. Of just the idea of this is something we didn't have with Luka. Is like we didn't have that next lottery pick to pair with Luka to build upon moving forward. And now we get this chance at a top 10 pick to add with Cooper moving forward. And I think that will energize the fan base even more while bringing back like the leader fan favorite in Kyrie Irving. As long as he, still wants to be here. I think the combination of those three things will be kind of electrifying in a way. I think the start of next season and going into training camp next year and the start of the regular season, I think there's going to be so much hype and excitement with Mavs fans to see Cooper year 2, Kyrie back, and the new rookie. It's just going to be a lot of fun.
Dude, and they could, obviously they could get lucky and move up to number 1 or number 2 or whatever, but like they could also make some trades for good players. Like they could have even more next year. I don't want to get carried away with my hope or anything, but like Coop, Kyrie, let's say they get the Bonza and then they get a vet or two in here. Like that's one of the most fun teams in the league to watch. Yeah. And think about 3 months ago in mid-November when they had the worst offensive rating in the history of the league. We're like, this sucks. It is unwatchable. It is brutal. I cannot accept this for the next 3 years of my life. And it's over. And like in 1 year, they could go from that brutality, that abomination to something that is incredibly fun. Like that's just, we are very lucky, man. We've spent the last 30 years just getting one blessing after the next for absolutely no reason. And, it could be a whole lot worse. But what we got right now is hopefully going to be pretty fun.
All right. That's Bobby Karalla at DLLS. You can catch him every single day, or the show every single day. I think Bobby's on there most days, but the show every day. There's a pregame show before every game, a postgame show after every game. So much content over there, and follow their beat writer, Ron Harrod Jr. Too. So there you go. Peace out. Boom. Bye, Bobby.